Hey, what is up, everybody? This is your boy AJTRIP, and welcome to the Game According to Me, the podcast where I talk about the NFL and college football on a weekly basis during the football season. And then we'll bring in something else, and that's what I'm going to do today to start this podcast. I'm going to give you my quick thoughts about what the NBA is doing to the All-Star game. I think it's total bullshit. So Adam Silver and NBA is not happy with the fact that the players don't play defense, or they don't play defense in the games, or they don't you know they don't take it seriously enough or whatever. And do you really think what the hell you're doing now the NBA is gonna be taken seriously? Okay, yeah, the score is not going to be 200 and something to 100 and something. Yeah. Okay, so the score is not going to be 200 points. But do you really think that they're really going to take it seriously? Just to get playing an 8-man tournament or whatever. I mean, it's fucking ridiculous. It really is. Just leave it the way it is. Everybody's trying to change the All Star game. Either do either one or two things. Either leave it the way it is or get rid of it. Right? Either one or the other. USA versus the world isn't going to work because there are many more American All-Star players than there are European players, and or people across the world. Because you can use Canada and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and some other guys. So if you do that, you're going to have people who are not All-Stars be All-Stars because they have to be on the world team. Yeah, you're gonna have somebody who's like averaging 8 points and seven boards, who's an all star for the world team because he had to pick the world, and that's ridiculous. Just keep it the way it is, and like I said, just either get rid of it or just leave it the way it is and deal with the fact that players are going to be a 200-point game. Besides, it's a show. It's supposed to be a show, right? It's supposed to be the show of the greatest players in the world and what they can do, and whether they can shoot threes from half court or they can go and dunk. You want them to play a little bit of defense and things like that, and maybe take the game a little bit more serious. Have some pride in playing for your team, representing your team in your conference. You want that, but it's not going to happen. Football's done away with the Pro Bowl. And I think that's what you got to do here. You're gonna have to get rid of the All Star game because they're not gonna take it seriously. They're not gonna take this 8-man thing seriously. Whatever you're talking about, it's ridiculous. It makes no sense. It really does. It makes no sense. So I find that to be a very dumb idea. I think the NBA Emirates Cup is a dumb idea. I think the play-in tournament is a dumb idea. I'll tell you something. Adam Silver for the things that he's been lauded for, you know, mainly what he's been lauded for is getting, old man Sterling, out of the NBA after his racist, rants. Some of the other things he has done, this is ridiculous. So, you know, whatever. I find it to be just annoying that they still continue to try to change things like this. So, whatever. That's my little rant for the NBA things. We'll maybe the check on the NBA maybe next week. Which, by the way, I should have started this podcast by saying this is being recorded on Tuesday, not the normal Wednesday, because I have other things to do on Wednesday, the 27th. So it's just being recorded on the Tuesday, November 26th. So that's just what's going on. So I won't have, when we get to the college football, which is coming up next, I won't have college football playoff rankings to talk about or anything like that. Um, so, but we'll go over them, next week as well. But so yeah, that's why this is coming out on a Tuesday. So as we talked about, let's go ahead and go and talk about those college football playoffs, and let's see what happened this weekend in college football. Okay, so let's take a look back at this past week's um, weekend in college football. Oh, Jesus Christ, my back hurts. Okay, so we've got Friday, UNLV took down San Jose State 27-16. Then to Saturday, SMU uh, beat Virginia 33-7. SMU great chance of making the college football playoff. They are in the ACC title game against Miami. That's going to be a good one. Speaking of Miami, they beat Wake Forest 42-14. Florida beat Ole Miss 24-17, knocking Ole Miss more than likely out of the college football playoff. Illinois beat Rutgers 36-30, 38-31. Excuse me. Indiana lost to Ohio State 38-15. But because of some of the stuff that happened with Ole Miss, Alabama, Colorado, and BYU, Indiana still have a great shot of making the college football playoff. So it'll be fun to see them in the college football playoff in the first year. A lot of new blood. Yeah, get rid of all of the old blood out. Let's get some of this new blood in SMU and Indiana and BYU, Arizona State. Yes, let's go. Georgia beat UMass. At least it wasn't some FCS school, but still it's UMass, 58-21. Tennessee beat UTEP 58-0. Penn State skeeked by Minnesota 26-25. Colorado, like you said, they lost to Kansas. The running back at Kansas just ran all over them. Over 200 yards rushing, 37-21. BYU Arizona State had a game of games. As BYU came back, tried to make a comeback. They was driving down the field, get picked off by the Arizona State defender, and then for some reason the Arizona State head coach just had a brain fart. Instead of trying to go and score a touchdown to make it a two-score game, it's under a minute left. He starts doing things where they're running backwards, they're taking knees, and they were at the 2-yard line, and they go all the way back to almost the 50-yard line, and then the quarterback doesn't even wait long enough to throw the ball on fourth down, so when it lands out of bounds, it's 1 second on the clock, the fans have stormed the field, and everything like that. 18-minute delay to get the fans off the field, so much so, to the very least they could play the final play. BYU gets the final shot with a Hail Mary. The guy does catch it, but he's 2 yards short of the end zone, and Arizona State wins. But Arizona State deserved to lose that game with the way that the head coach coached it. It was just absolutely ridiculous. Something else that's absolutely ridiculous. Clemson playing the Citadel, 51-14. Clemson won. It's sickening. I speak about it each and every year. I hate the fact that these teams they play these FCS schools, for their homecoming, things like that. Again, like I mentioned, at least Georgia played an FBS school in UMass, but that's just still kind of not any better. Texas beat Kentucky 31-14. South Carolina beat Wofford 56-12. Missouri State beat Mississippi State 39 to not Missouri State. Missouri beat Mississippi State 39-20. Notre Dame beat Army in the Shamrock Series 49-14. They have been on a roll. I think Notre Dame is one of the top teams in this country, and hopefully they'll get into the playoffs and prove it by winning a couple games and moving on to the finals. Boise State got by Wyoming. Boise State right now looks to be one of they're in position to get not only into the college football playoff, but actually get a bye, which would be tremendous. Again, for this first ranking, for this first 12-team playoff, to have Boise State get a bye would be tremendous, and I would love to see that. Iowa State beats Utah 31-28. Texas A&M and Auburn. Final overtime, Auburn beats Texas A&M. That's another team that was kind of on the outside looking in for a spot, who lost Texas A&M. They 43-41 in the final overtime. And then of course Oklahoma State just destroying Alabama at home, 24-3, leaving the Alabama Crimson Tide playoff hopes to slim. They are probably going to need some other teams to lose. And I don't know if that's going to happen. So here we go. We got week 14 happening right now. Let's take a look at some of these things. We've got on Thanksgiving night, you've got Memphis at Tulane. Tulane still they still have an outside shot at the playoffs as well. They are the conference leader for their conference. I forget what conference they're even in. Conference USA maybe. So they're leader of their conference. They would definitely need a whole bunch of other stuff to happen to maybe for them to get into the college football playoff. Because they only take only five conference champions get an automatic bid. So even if Tulane were to win, they wouldn't automatically get in if Boise State and the other ones, Big 12, they get their stuff together. So there's that. Oregon State. So Friday we go to Oregon State and Boise State. Boise State needs to win that one to keep it continue. And we have Oklahoma State at Colorado. Again, Colorado needs to win to keep themselves in a shot for the Big 12 championship. That's also on Friday. We also have Ole Miss at Mississippi State on Friday. The Battle of the Golden Egg. Or not the Golden Egg, the Egg Bowl. Excuse me. The Golden Egg is the that's the old Vince McMahon Bowl, I guess, from a couple years ago, Survivor Series. By the way, all my wrestling fans out there, make sure that you go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/AJTRIP. This weekend, we are doing not only the practice, but predictions for Survivor Series War Games 2024, but Saturday evening, we're also going to be watching it after the Survivor Series War Games thing ends, live on my YouTube channel. We'll talk about it in a rapid reaction. So make sure you go to my YouTube channel, you subscribe, you click the notification bell, so that when I put out the video, when I go live, you will get a notification to your phone, your computer screen, wherever. Clean old-fashioned hate, Georgia Tech versus Georgia, also happens on Friday. To Saturday's action, we got Tennessee versus Vanderbilt, UTSA versus Army, Michigan versus Iowa State in the game. This should be an easy one for Iowa State, but maybe not. Who never knows? If Michigan can upset Ohio State, that's another thing that happens, another domino that falls, in this college football playoff thing. So that should be very interesting to see. South Carolina versus Clemson, the Land of Lincoln Trophy. Illinois versus Northwestern. Arizona State versus Arizona. I think there's a whole bunch of bells. I think they may be playing for the bell. Let's see. Yeah, I'm trying to see here really quick what's the Arizona State versus Arizona. The Territorial Cup. That's the trophy they play for, the Territorial Cup. Arizona State versus Arizona. Arkansas versus Missouri. Miami versus Syracuse, excuse me. California versus SMU. Now see, this is one of the things that I think is wrong with this. I don't see why. I don't understand why that's not California versus Stanford. That's what it should be. Auburn versus Alabama, it's the Iron Bowl. Maryland at Penn State. Notre Dame is at USC. That's for the Golden Shillelagh. Purdue at Indiana. I think that's the Old Oaken Bucket, right? Again, let's take a quick Google search. The Old Oaken Bucket Trophy is it's Indiana versus Purdue. Yeah, I got that one right. Texas at Texas A&M. They have not played, since Texas A&M went to the SEC. Now, since Texas and the SEC, they're back playing each other at the end of the year. Let's see what there is. If it's just a rivalry, or if it's got a trophy or name of the game, as it would be. It doesn't look like it. Although it does look like that the winner of Texas versus Texas A&M will face Georgia in the SEC championship game. So that's something to look for. It doesn't look like that in any game, any name or game, but that's a big rivalry. Kansas State versus Iowa State. Let's see, why is that not Kansas versus Kansas State? See, this is one of the things that I really hate, the fact that this stuff has changed college football, because this is rivalry weekend, and this is where most of the big rivalries would happen. Kansas State, Michigan, Ohio State, Utah versus Utah State, but it's just Oklahoma versus Oklahoma State. They're not even gonna do Oklahoma versus Oklahoma State anymore, apparently, because Oklahoma went to the SEC, and that's just totally wrong. That's totally wrong, and I cannot stand it. I really cannot stand it. I want my old school football back. I really do. Okay, so that's just me. Washington versus Oregon. Now they have a rivalry, but this should really be Oregon versus Oregon State, and Washington versus Washington State. BYU is hosting Houston. They need to win, because Colorado, Arizona State, Iowa State, and BYU are all, I think they're all 6-2 in division play. So I think what happens is that if Arizona wins and Iowa State wins, they're in. It just happens like that. I think BYU needs 2 of the other 3. They need Arizona State, Colorado, or Iowa State to 2 of those 3 to lose. And it's the same thing with Colorado. The Colorado, to get into the Big 12 championship game, they need either BYU, Arizona State, or Iowa State, 2 of those 3 to lose. So that's what happens for the Big 12 championship game. And then for the Fremont Cannon, we've got Nevada versus UNLV. So yeah, you have it, and so this is going to be a very interesting one. And actually, as we look ahead to championship weekend, next weekend, we've got some things here. We've got Boise State in the Mountain West. We've got Georgia in the SEC, SMU in the ACC, Oregon in the Big Ten, all looking for opponents. So I thought Miami was already in, but I guess not. So if Miami loses to Syracuse, there could be another team that gets into that ACC championship game, which would be very interesting, because Miami is like, they're ranked so high, so that when in the college football rankings, they're already seeded as one of the seeds that get the first round bye. So that would be interesting. Then of course, a couple weeks from now, we've got Army versus Navy. This game used to be on rivalry weekend, and now they make it so that it happens. They make it so that it happens, away from the all of the things, which I guess is fine, but still, it's like, that should be on rivalry weekend. So I don't know, especially now because this college football playoff. Although the college football playoffs don't start until December the 20th, and that's going to be on December 14th. So maybe it's okay to have it like that now. All right, so yeah, there you have it. That's it for college football. Some really great games this weekend. Gonna be fun to watch. See what chaos, if any, happens. So that should be good. And with that being said, let's go ahead and let's go to the National Football League. So let's start the NFL recap with one of the best things you could ever see in sports: a snow game. Thursday night in Cleveland, there was some snow in the second half. A really good snow game. That's what you want to see. That's what you want. That's why you want football to be played in outside in the elements on natural grass. Miss me with all these domes and miss me with all this artificial turf. Outside in the weather on natural grass. That's how football will be made. Football for men. and the Cleveland Browns, they were. I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say they were more manly, but they they were able to survive the conditions and beat the Pittsburgh Steelers on their home field, 24. Excuse me, 24 to 19. The Browns over the Steelers on Thursday night. So this Sunday's actions, we had a lot of upsets. They had the Titans upset the Texans, 32 to 27. A lot of talk about is C.J. Stroud struggling, and he's struggling in this second year, the sophomore slump. And that was supposed to be last year looked so easy for him that I think a lot of us wrongfully just assumed that he was just going to take it to the next level. But more people have tape on CJ, and see also maybe it may be a little bit normal for someone to just say, hey, I play so well in my rookie year. I don't need to try to get better, or he doesn't do the extra things anymore. I'm not saying that he did or not, but I think without a doubt he's in his sophomore slump, along with Jordan Love. Although Jordan Love, that would be his graduate year slump, since it's like his fifth year. But yeah, he just hasn't played as well as he did last year, and that's. And you can maybe say that's due to some injuries, maybe an offensive line not being effective this year as it was last year. So a lot of things happening. Titans beat the Texans 32-27. Vikings beat the Bears in overtime 30-27. Once again, Caleb Williams looks good under the new offensive coordinator Thomas Brown, but just couldn't get the job done. Another blocked field goal by Cairo Santos. From Cairo Santos in this game by the Bears against the Vikings. Unreal. This seems like the Hail Mary has just put this team into a major hole that they're not going to be able to get out of, and who knows what that means that it's going to cost Matt Eberflus his job. It might unfortunately have to be. It might have to be. Cowboys beat the Commanders. This game was silly. This game was totally silly. I mean, it was 10-9 going to the fourth quarter, and they scored a whole bunch of points in the fourth quarter, including, once again, Gene Daniels finding Terry McLaurin in the last minute of the game and getting a 87-yard touchdown for Terry McLaurin, and then the kicker misses the extra point. It's 27-26, and then they try the onside kick to get the ball back. The Cowboys return it for a touchdown when they probably should just fell on it, giving Washington time to try another Hail Mary. The Cowboys effectively do it, unlike the Bears did it, and it falls short, and the Cowboys win 34-26. Amazing. The Dolphins beat the Patriots 34-15. Tua coming back, 3-game winning streak since he's come back. They look like the Dolphins that we expected them to be, high flying, all that other good stuff. So good on them and the Dolphins. The Chiefs just slipped by the Panthers 30-27. Bryce Young's, after being benched, has come back and he's playing very well. So putting points on the board for the Panthers, so that's good. Someone who's not doing well is the New York Giants, and the Buccaneers beat them 30-7. It's you know here in Chicago, there's a lot of talk about saying that the players have quit on Eberflus at 27 points and the effort they put up. I don't think the players have quit on Matt Eberflus, but they've shown. I think the players surely have quit on the New York Giants, especially when they did Daniel Jones. And Nick Labors comes off and said we soft as shit, and there's a lot of talk about the play calling and things like that. I think maybe the Giants have maybe quit on Brian Dable. A team that has not quit, who will never quit under Dan Campbell, are the Detroit Lions. They beat the Colts 24-6. Two more touchdowns for Jahmyr Gibbs, another touchdown again for David Montgomery, and once again the Lions just looking amazing. Um, Broncos beat the Raiders 29-19. Bo Nix playing excellently well the last several weeks, doing some good stuff. He is the only rookie quarterback, to have 200 yards of offense, 200 passing yards, and 2 touchdowns in 5 games this year. The only rookie quarterback to do it, and that's Bo Nix. The Seahawks beat the Cardinals 16-6. Out west, it's a dogfight. Who's gonna become the champion? And Seahawks can win, the Cardinals can win, the Rams can win, the 49ers can win. All teams can win because no one has really broke away from the pack yet. And that's because you would think the 49ers would, but because of their injuries and everything like that, and maybe just it's their time, their time to start, getting away from their window, and no one has, taken their division by force. The 49ers lost to the Packers 38-10. Now they were out without Nick Bosa, they were without Trent Williams, they were without Brock Purdy. So we'll see because of next week they should at the very least have both Williams and Purdy back in the starting lineup. It looks like that's going to happen. The Eagles beat the Rams 30-20. Saquon Barkley 26 rushes, 255 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 runs of 70 yards or more. This is why I wanted the Bears to get Saquon Barkley, because he is a difference maker. He is a difference maker. There has been some talk about the running backs, and running backs are a dime a dozen and all this bullshit. Listen, I will fully admit that there are some running backs that are just that are just the same. But when you talk about Saquon Barkley, when you talk about Christian McCaffrey, when you talk about Jahmyr Gibbs, when you talk about David Etienne, when you talk Devon Etienne, how you say the name, when you talk about Kenneth Walker III and Isaiah Pacheco, and there's a few others. These are difference makers. These are difference makers. These are guys that you are, that you can give the ball to on first down, second down, third down. They can break runs for touchdowns like Saquon did, 2 70-plus yard touchdown runs. Jahmyr Gibbs can do all of those things. Those are guys who are difference makers. And those are the guys who you pay. And I don't know why you would pay. Even though David Montgomery's got 10 touchdowns again for the Detroit Lions, and he's on his way to another 1,000-yard season with the Lions. There's no reason to pay David Montgomery. There's no reason. That's running back this dime a dozen. He's just David Montgomery is Josh Jacobs. They're the same guy. I'm sorry. I don't know. A lot of people think that Josh Jacobs does this big thing. He's not. He's David Montgomery. That's what Josh Jacobs is. He couldn't break. He couldn't run. He couldn't do what Saquon Barkley did. Have 2 runs for 70, yards or more. He would get caught from behind. So, Josh Jacobs is not a guy. Sorry. I'm not just saying that because I'm a Bears fan. He's a Packer. I'm not saying it. And then last night, Monday Night Football, the Ravens beat the Chargers 30-27. Ravens got back on track. So, as we look ahead to Week 13 of the National Football League. We start with Thanksgiving, the traditional Thanksgiving games. The Lions home game against my Bears. This might the Bears have never fired a coach during the middle of the season. They've always waited till after the season. They never fired a coach in season. If the Lions do to the Bears what I think they can do to the Bears, we might see it come the week, especially when we're talking about they have that kind of bye type of week. It could happen. Totally. Then you have the Cowboys against the Giants. Two struggling teams, but the Cowboys made a great effort to against Washington. I don't think the Giants are going to have a great effort against the Cowboys. This is going to be another game that could be a blowout. Best game of Thanksgiving should be the Dolphins and the Packers, both having both coming off of big games and things like that. This should be a very fun thing. Thursday night in Green Bay, maybe get another weather game. Maybe some snow might come down, some precipitation for Thanksgiving. That would be good. So again, some more football weather. So we'll hope to hopefully see that. Those are your Thursday night games. We have a new tradition since Amazon is here, Black Friday game. We got the Raiders at the Chiefs. So that should be a very a good matchup, I think. And then we get to Sunday. The Texans are at the Jaguars. The Texans this is a perfect team for the Texans to to get healthy on. Although you thought maybe the Titans was as well, but this is a Jaguars team that is not playing very well right now. So Texans need to do what they need to do to get better. Excuse me. The Panthers are at the Colts are at the Patriots. Let's see if the Colts can do it. Ever since the benching, Anthony Richardson has the 2 games has played pretty well. So let's see if we can keep it continue against the Patriots. The Chargers are at the Falcons. This is going to be a big time game, I think. Can the Chargers come out with a loss? Can they do things? Can they get back on track? And the Falcons, they just coming off their bye. What are they going to do? All some good stuff there. The Seahawks at the Jets. Seahawks need to keep it. You need to keep up with the other teams in the NFC West, so they have to be the Jets here. And the Jets right now, they may have a snowball's chance in hell of making the playoffs. So if this is the time of Tom Brady. We think about when Tom Brady took the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to the Super Bowl. It was after Thanksgiving when they got hot. So can Aaron Rodgers do that? Can he get the Jets hot? We'll wait and see. The Titans are at the Commanders. Commanders needs to have another shot at this to keep it, to get back on track with the Titans. But the Titans are not giving up, and they need to keep it as well. With the Steelers at the Bengals, this is going to be a tremendous matchup. The Steelers, are they going to rise to the occasion against a division foe? And the Bengals are they still have a snowball's chance in here as well of making the playoffs, and this is where they start. They need to get hot right here. The Cardinals at the Vikings. Cardinals coming off the loss to Seahawks, and the Vikings coming off the win at the Bears. They need to keep it continue. They've got 9 wins. They're looking for 10 wins. The Rams are at the Saints. Looking for another win under the interim coach in New Orleans, and the Rams. Just coming off this loss against the Eagles, need to get a win to stay, along in the division, see West with the other teams. We got the Buccaneers at the Panthers, NFC South matchup. The Eagles are at the Ravens. This is a really good one. 2 good teams right now playing very well. See how each one does. Can they stop Saquon Barkley? Can the Eagles stop Derrick Henry? That's a battle of who's going to get the run game going here. Sunday Night Football, the 49ers at the Bills. Like I said, Purdy and Williams should be back. Don't know about Bosa. Bills coming off their bye. This is where their start here. Just get healthy. They hopefully get Cooper healthy and things like that. And this is where they need to start making their mark to keep that number 2 slot. Because she won a couple of home games in the playoffs. So let's keep the number 2 spot for the Bills. And then Monday Night Football, the Browns at the Broncos. We know under Jameis, the Browns just seem to have something going with them. And what the Broncos are playing well, and Bo Nix needs to keep it continue with him. So that's a sneaky good Monday Night Football game. The Browns at the Broncos. So there you have it. That's week 13 of the National Football League. Let's go ahead and get ready to close this thing out. Alright guys, that's going to be it for this episode of The Game According to Me. Make sure to check down below and go and to patron.com/AJTRIP to become a patron. Once I hit a certain amount of patrons, you will be able to determine what you see, on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/AJTRIP20, on my Twitch channel, your games I play, you'll be able to choose. I have to have those games, however, twitch.tv/AJTRIP20. And of course, what issues to talk about on my new podcast, the AJ Trip Show, coming soon in the new year. So, yeah, there you have it. Those are one ways to help support me. Other ways as well. Make sure that you go to the Spotcast link in the spot. It should be called Spotcast. The Spotify link in the description box down below. You go there. You can support financially with 99 cents, $4.99, or $9.99. Those are the 3 tiers. Or if you don't have the money to be able to do so that way, you can just share, like this podcast, rate this podcast, and share it all over your social media to gain some traction, and that's good as well. I appreciate anything that I get. I just appreciate the fact that you also listen to this as well. So there you have it. I want everybody to have a safe Thanksgiving. Hope you enjoy the food, enjoy your family, enjoy the football. Most importantly, enjoy the football. And we will be back next week on our normal daytime, Wednesday. Again, we'll talk about the rankings, and we'll talk about get into checking on the NBA, see how the basketball is happening and everything like that. So, might even recap a little bit for those of you guys who won't be able to watch my rapid reaction. Yeah, we'll recap Survivor Series War Games as well, especially something big happens. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, we'll do all of that next Wednesday on the next episode. Alright, y'all. Thank you guys so much for listening. This is your boy, AJ Trip, signing off. As always, be good to each other, y'all. Be careful out there. And I am out.